What's up, everybody? Welcome to JL's Movie Life, episode 13, Unlucky 13. This week I'm reviewing The Expendables 2. I'm in a hotel in Hartford, Connecticut, so I'm on the road doing some comedy. So, different surroundings, same awkward, terrorist-like viewpoint. Expendables 2. Let's see, if I had to summarize it in one sentence, I'd say if Tyler Perry wrote and directed a porn film, it would have more cinematic value than The Expendables 2. If you don't know, The Expendables 2 is the sequel to the successful, pornographically violent, poorly written film from a couple of years ago. Was it a couple of years ago or was it last year? I don't know. I still have post-traumatic stress from the first one, but it was insanely bloody, poorly acted, loaded with has-been action stars and new unsuccessful action stars. So they brought the whole gang back and they added some firepower, some more has-been firepower, and some more irrelevant young talent. First off, if you've seen the posters and you see Hemsworth in the title, above the title, not Chris Hemsworth, not Thor. I thought it was Thor. It's not Thor. It's his brother. It's Miley Cyrus's soon-to-be ex-husband, soon-to-be husband, then ex-husband, future ex-husband. Chris Hemsworth, Liam Hemsworth Cyrus, because I think he's taking her name. So he's in it, and this should tell you something. He's probably the best actor in the movie. Okay, just that should be enough of a clue to you as far as the cinematic quality. But what's funny about his character, he's like the young gun. He's the good kid that they all really like and think is better than them, and they hammer it home so much that you just know something bad's going to happen. Like, they never let you not think something bad is going to happen to this kid. He might as well have been a black guy in an 80s horror movie. Like, you're just watching going, if they tell him he's awesome one more time and look at him like proud parents one more time, and if he talks about his girlfriend back home one more time, I'm going to kill myself. I'm not going to wait for him to die. So then they go on a mission, and everybody's back, the whole gang. Stallone, veined up, clearly on roids, with that weird kind of pencil-thin mustache that just makes him look even more like a has-been porn star. He's the leader. He's whatever. He should be ashamed of himself. He brought this upon us. Arnold Schwarzenegger's in the movie, and it's hard to say this, but he's lost whatever acting chops he had. I don't know how many he had, but he literally, being governor, I guess, really, you'd think being a politician would have helped his acting skills, because he would have had to lie so much, but he's terrible in his scenes. He doesn't even know, he doesn't even look comfortable shooting a gun anymore. How many people have you killed in movies, Arnold, that you look uncomfortable and geriatric? Bruce Willis is in it, probably the worst performance of his life. I'm talking to you, Hudson Hawk. This is your worst movie and your worst performance. Jason Statham, I'm always fascinated by him. I have it on good information that he's about 5'6", which is disappointing. He's sort of like our Jean-Claude Van Damme, except he's never carried a successful film. So that's where we are. He's our fake martial artist of this decade, except his movies don't make money, the ones that he stars in. And I don't know how he became the number 2 guy. Like, Stallone is the number 1 guy in The Expendables, and then Statham is number 2. I would have thought they would put somebody else in his place. I don't know. Van Damme is here playing the villain. I was a huge Van Damme fan when I was a kid. And it's good to see that he still can't pronounce words. He says in one point, he goes, "Don't challenge me. Don't challenge me." Don't you mean don't challenge me? But it's good because now my Van Damme impression will become relevant again. But I will just start telling that to people who try to pick fights with me. I'll be like, first of all, don't challenge me, okay? I will fight you back. He's horrible, but he can still do some kicks and stuff, so good for him. And he's not the worst in the movie. He's probably, after Hemsworth, probably the Liam Hemsworth, remember, Miley Cyrus Hemsworth. It's probably the second best performance in this movie. Terry Crews is in it, who's been in a lot of stuff, and he is given way too many of those woohoo type lines, the awkward, show the excited black guy. Like Stallone, it's not the 80s anymore. Terry Crews has done way too much stuff for you to just relegate him back to being the guy who drops shitty one-liners that people laugh at in movie theaters. And Terry Crews, ease up on the weights. We get it. Okay, you want to be bigger than Arnold in his prime. Mission accomplished. You look scary in your Old Spice commercials, and somehow you got more pumped up for this movie. You'd think with all their special forces training, they wouldn't have time to get that big, but he is fucking frightening. Randy Couture, who is an MMA guy, horrible actor, irrelevant in action movies. I don't even know why he's in the movie except for his cauliflower ear and his horrible acting. Jet Li is in the movie briefly. Don't worry, he doesn't die. He just drops some broken English and parachutes out of a plane, and probably got $2 million just to be able to put his name up on the marquee. And then I want to talk about Dolph Lundgren. Okay, and I know this one's running long, but this is The Expendables 2. Okay, if you're the worst movie of the year, The Expendables 2. I know this may offend people, but it's the second worst thing to happen in a movie theater this year. It's oof. But Dolph Lundgren, who we all know as Drago, he's back in this movie, and in the first one he turned to a bad guy. So I was like, why is he back with the crew? He was a bad guy in the first movie. But I didn't bother watching The Expendables 1 again because that would be like reviewing a videotape of an abortion just to see exactly what happened. I just said, I don't want to go through the trauma again. He is perplexing me, and of course he had a biochemical reaction. That's what they tell you in this one. So I guess all's forgiven if he takes his meds. I guess he can be back on the crew with super heavy machine guns that obliterate people to pieces on one shot. Dolph Lundgren is a tall, now he looks kind of leathery like a Robert Redford, but he was a tall, very good-looking, very built dude who also happened to be a genius with, I think, a degree in mechanical engineering from MIT, which they actually play into the movie because they wouldn't want him to act like anything but himself. So basically this guy had the world by the balls, and he just said, I want to do the one thing that God didn't want me to do. I'm going to act. I'm going to not use my looks, my muscles, my intelligence. I'm going to act. It's the one thing I'm terrible at, and I'm going to conquer it. He hasn't conquered it. In 20 plus years of movie making, he is still a horrifically shitty actor. And then Chuck Norris shows up. And he's kind of funny, terrible actor, but actually his scenes are kind of humorous because they are playing upon the Chuck Norris as superhero action guy. So if I were going to give this movie an F, Chuck Norris may have made it a D-, which I don't even think really exists on many grade scales. But I'll come to the grade in a second. Here's the problem with America in general. I saw Killer Joe a few weeks with Matthew McConaughey. Now that movie has 2 vagina shots. Okay, some violence and 2 vagina shots. One hairy, one clean. Movie got an NC-17 rating. There was no penetration, not even an open vagina, just 2 unclothed women. NC-17 rating. Okay. Expendables. If I were making a rough estimate of how many people died in the course of this movie, it's in the 5 digits. I would say about 13 to 14,000 people were obliterated with machine guns in rather violent form. People are torn to shreds. And this gets an R rating because, God forbid, 2 unused vaginas be seen by the American public. It might scar our youth. But in this one, we see people torn to shreds by machine guns. And the biggest crime, of course, in this movie is the horrible acting and writing. The dead bodies I could get over, but the real trauma is just the awful writing. And Adam Sandler and Tyler Perry, in their worst moment, couldn't come up with this movie. So kudos to you, Sylvester Stallone. You've done the impossible. I'm giving it a flat F. Not even a D. I'm giving this movie an F. So it's so bad you may enjoy it, but it is really bad. And it's disturbing. And I can't wait for Expendables 3. So that's JL's Movie Life for this week. Sorry if it's a little long, but as you can see, I'm very passionate about how shitty this movie was. So check in next Monday for a new review. Thank you.
Wanna get the feeling, gotta get the feeling, gonna get the feeling once again. Wanna get the feeling, gotta get the feeling, gonna